there, you're back for another one of Arbiter's Garrysmod tutorials. I've had a request from a user on YouTube called Doomlord101, and he has requested that I do a tutorial on how to make automatic doors. So, as you can see here, I've got a sort of framework of a wall, basically. If you imagine this is like the wall of a base, and we're just going to teach you how to make an automatic door for this. I've made it so that it fits perfectly with a 2x2 panel, such as this. And I'm just going to easy weld this on to the bottom of the door here. Now, what you have to remember is, for an automatic door, it has to detect, obviously, when someone is nearby. And obviously it needs to be able to move as well, so I'm going to unweld it. It's just frozen in place right there, which is just where I want it. But actually, I want it to be slightly higher so I can get underneath it. So I'm going to actually weld it a little bit higher up, about there. And now you can see I can work underneath it. Oop, frozen. And then I can just unfreeze it, and then... So, what we're going to do is we're going to have this open when someone comes nearby. Now, if you use the beacon target finder, and you want to set it at a slightly lower range, just so when someone's within the area, like if I just put this, the range is on 500 there, and if I was to place that's around about the middle. It still found me when I'm about over here. I can't really see what it's like over there. If I was to set a screen, ignore that it says Z. That if I was to, alright, there you can see when it's found a target. So when I'm this far away from the door, it's going to be open. So obviously 500 is a bit of a big distance. You can just set up this. You can have this little setup just so you can find the right distance. I usually find about 150 to 200, so I'm going to put 200 in there, and that means that when I get this close to the door, it opens, and that's about right for me. So I'm just going to leave that target finder on the floor there in the middle, and no collide it so that you don't bump into it or anything. And that's fine. And then I'm going to slider this door on. Now, if you look at a prop and right click, it'll slider with something directly opposite it in a straight line, which for obviously something that's snapped to the world would just go up and down in this sort of fashion and hope it doesn't black hole. Right, now the way to make it open, you can do a number of things. You can have hydraulics, winches, thrusters and ropes. I occasionally use irises to like Stargate irises as a door, but for the moment I'm just going to show you the hydraulic tool. So wire hydraulic, and you can just set that also. If you right click, it'll just go straight down to the floor, and then you have to is press the controller. And you can see there that the length, about head height, is 90. Let's say make it 100. So all we need now, so it detects when someone is nearby and outputs 1 when it has found a target, and we want it to go up to a value of 90. So we're going to use something that changes depending on whether that is true. So we're going to use the logic, no we're not, selection, if then else, which if you know anything about coding is basically whether or not a variable is true outputs 2 different values. Now we need a constant value as well for the 2 heights of the door, so we're going to have 1 and 100 for when the door is closed and when it is open. Now, an if else then statement, wire always works best when you say it out loud in your head. So if A then B else C equals, it's all mumbo jumbo, but if you say if A, meaning A is the condition, so when the target finder is true, which it is now, then B, which means that when it's true, when it's found a target, you want the door to be open. So obviously you would want it as 100, but when you haven't found a target, which is C, else, when it's not true, you want it 1, so it's closed, and then all you have to do is set the length to this value, and then hopefully when I unfreeze this, you can see there the door is just hovering. If I was to move backwards, it shuts. So when I walk towards this, there we go. And that's just a nice little door there. Ooh, it should be a nice little door. There you go. And that's just a nice little automatic door. You can play with the ranges of the target finder, make it invisible. You could use a Stargate Iris, as I've said. So, you know, just move that in place and have it open. You obviously have to move it through the world and everything. But that's essentially all you need. You can just, as soon as you put a target on the floor, as soon as a target's acquired for anybody, you could even set it only target yourself. If you on target finder settings, if you say target players, but put in a name filter, and put in your name, like obviously I would type Arbiter, and then target acquired. So the door is open. If I was to stand over here and then say spawn an NPC. Oh, nope, it's still open. Never mind. Okay. That's still under some kind of weird beta testing, I imagine. I don't really know. Okay. And that's an automatic door. I've rambled on for too long. I hope this has been informative, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.